Hey there, beautiful people, and happy, fantastic Friday and happy Cinco de Mayo. I hope today you are celebrating your day your way. I hope today has brought you nothing but reasons to smile. And if it hasn't, you know how it goes. By the time I leave here today, you will have either laughed at me or with me, and I'm okay with both. It's been a while, but I'm bringing in chapter 5 with you today. And it is a hefty chapter, so we won't get through all of it, but we're at that point where we're actually going to talk about tea therapy, which is what Spilling the Tea is all about. This guide is a force. It is a guide to helping you lean in on your life and remove that baggage and to living in a life of truly who you are in freedom and in happiness. And it's a step-by-step process that you get to decide when you start and how it goes. However, it's a tool that keeps on giving. This is something you can use over and over again in your life. Thank you to those. Hey, how are you? Glad to see you. Glad you could join me. For those of you who have been with me on the journey of how the concept started and what it's about, this book, Spilling the Tea, is about spilling your tea. It's about what's going on that's spilling out everywhere that you don't really understand why. You don't know what's going on with you. You don't understand why you're probably making some of the decisions that you're making, why you're seeing the same things processing and happening over and over again in your life. Well, I'll tell you, by the time you get done with this, you'll understand a lot more about yourself, but you'll be feeling great. You'll feel that lift in your spirit. You'll feel that lightness in your soul. And guess what? Nobody has to know but you. You know, this is like the best kept secret. Some people don't believe in coaching. Some people don't believe in therapy. Some people don't believe in going and talking about their feelings. This gives you an opportunity to do it on your time, on your terms, and still reap results for your efforts. And hey, I say that's a pretty good deal. So we've gotten to the point where we've talked about what it is, why it's here, how it got here. And now we're actually at the part where we're going to talk about the process. So if you haven't got the book, I suggest you get it. You can Google Spilling the Tea by Amy Boulding. You can get it on different websites. Barnes and Noble has been my pick because they're very quick with their return. So, but you can get it at walmart.com. You can get it in different places. What's important is that you get it. You may not use it the first day you have it, maybe not even the second day, but I guarantee you something is going to nudge you. There's going to be something happen in your life that you may not like too well. That's going to be like, you know what? I'm going to crack that book open and see if it can really help. So here we go. Chapter 5. Tea time. Step 1, the list. Read the entire book and directions before you start. I think I've mentioned that before in this book, but it's because there's a method to the madness. Just read it from front to back first. It's a whopping 40-something pages. You've got this. Exactly. Investing in yourself is it is the best investment you'll ever make. Okay. First thing you're going to do is make a list of anyone who has an emotional anchor on your life, good or bad. Think about your life starting with your childhood and continue until the present moment. I will help you with this list. Keep in mind, these can be people who were or were not active in your life, but actively stayed in your emotions, such as an absent parent, lost family members, even family members who passed away without you meeting them. If you were a foster kid or adopted, do a T on the biological side that you've never met, or even if you met them, and the adopted side. See the examples of people you may have on your list below. So I've given you a list of those people who you really need to do a T on, whether you are happy with them or not so happy with them. That's really not what this is about. It's about who's had an emotional tie on your life. And the interesting part about this is, for some people, when I've had my clients do it, they're like, yeah, I didn't realize that that really bothered me like that, or that that person was even significant to me. I don't even really see them like that. But it was something in them that was maybe said to them in a vulnerable state of who they were. And it's kind of stuck with them. Kind of like that teacher that said something stupid to you, like, oh, you're stupid and you'll never be nothing in yourself and you'll never make it as a whatever. We hear stories about that all the time. And we act like that those words don't just stay with us through the years. They really do. So here's the list for you. Parents, if they were or weren't in your life, they are a must. Siblings, you'd be surprised what comes out of you on this one. Yes, your siblings. Family members, if they pull at you emotionally, this tea needs to be done. Some of you may have an Aunt Grace that you never met. you never spoke to, your family never spoke of. So it may not be a reason to do a tea on that person. Now, there might be an Uncle Fred who came over and he was always like an antagonist and he always did things, or he, used to upset your mother when he would come over, or your father, or whatever it was. You would need to do a tea on that family member. All right. Friendships. I have found, even in my own life, I have had some friendships that end that I never imagined would. The unfortunate part is sometimes you don't always get to say much before it's gone, or to know how you really felt about it. Thank goodness for the tea. Another one is past relationships and marriages. As for relationships, any long-standing relationships and all or any marriages are a must. Teachers, coaches, and bosses. I had found that some of the worst mental hangups that we've had, I just mentioned this, have not come from family or the ones we love, but the ones we look up to, even if they're not related. These experiences sting, and words stick, sometimes for a lifetime if we don't confront them. Any deep circumstances or experiences, if you were perhaps in a girl's home or boy's home, jail, drug or alcohol addictions, abortions, personal regrets, some things we need to rid ourselves of are not always people as much as they are experiences. So if there's a situation where it wasn't a person, but maybe some event in your life that you need to let go of and feel through, then a tea is what needs to be done. I can relate to this because it was not just those people who were involved in my life. It was experiences that I had that had nothing to do with family as much as experiences. Like when I was in the girls' home, or when I was in different people, foster home settings, or even settings with people I didn't know, but they called them family. And all these instances came from these situations. Maybe it was that you saw something, like I had watched, unfortunately, I had watched my mother fight quite a bit. And there was a situation where I was sitting in the back of a El Camino watching her fight in a park, and there was a lot of bloodshed. And, there was things that a small child shouldn't see. And it wasn't the person. I did do tea on my mother, of course, and we'll go into that, but it was that circumstance. It was that instance. There was the time where I saw one of my family members hurting another family member, and they were helpless, and that gave me nightmares. There's things that have happened in your life that you need to make sure that you rid in a systematic way, and that way you can actually just let it go. All right. And let's see. Last but not least, the hardest one that you'll ever do of these teas is the one on yourself. You will be doing a tea on yourself. And it's always the one that catches people off guard because they're like, me? Yes, you will need to do a tea on yourself. Once you've made a well thought out and comprehensive list, it's time to go to step 2. You should see my client's face when they think they're all done and find out they have to do one on themselves. They do love me for it after, but nobody has ever been thrilled at the idea at first. You can add to the list as you go, but please don't shortchange this process. Just get started. Creating the list is to be taken seriously. Give yourself a couple of days to add to it. Think of this list as designing the house of your dreams. With each section of this process, you are building it piece by piece. How big do you want your home? How clean and clear? What type of view do you want? Take your time and do it thoroughly. There's no rushing this process, nor should you have the desire to rush it because it only cheats you. Now, step 2, the tea. The suggested order to go in is parents, siblings, family members, coaches, teachers, pastors, and leaders, relationships, marriages, children, and last but not least, yourself. You may not have people in each of these categories, but do not avoid any of these categories if you do. Please don't avoid, just embrace. Just to reiterate, if you had an absent parent, or you were adopted or fostered, you still need to do a tea on your parents, both biological and adopted or foster, whether you knew them or not. Just because someone was not present doesn't mean that you did not have feelings about it. Do the work, it will pay off. You will only do one tea at a time. This is important. Making a tea is just how it sounds. Take out a fresh sheet of paper, letter size preferably, and make a big T in the middle of the page. That would be a T. It's as simple as that. It's just a T in the middle of the page. On the top of the T, write the name of the person that you are doing it on. Write it big. On the left side of the T, write down all the crappy things about this experience with this person, the things that hurt, the things that you felt were unfulfilled or painful or wrong. Now, I probably am going to tell you something that I've probably written in the book, but it's habit. When you're doing these T's and you're talking about the things that really, really hurt, or the things that set a negative emotion in you, your job isn't to rationalize or empathize or create space or reason that it's okay that this happened to you. What happens is, as an adult, we become a little bit more soft or empathetic on understanding why somebody may have done this. Do not do that. You need to lay it out there. You need to be very honest for that little person, that person that was in you, that was in those moments. Maybe it wasn't a little person. Maybe this happened to you in your teens or your adulthood. That person, that part of you, you need to speak up for that situation at that time. Not the you who thought about it for 20 years and found reason or rationalized with it or just ignored it or said, hey, it's over, it's gone. But you need to go back in that instance for that instance. So, and don't feel bad. A lot of times when, and I'm probably, let me just read the book because I've probably already said it in here. The key to this is to walk down memory lane, to go there, go into the moment, bring up the emotion. Remember that you are not doing this to hurt. You are doing this to properly address and heal so you can be done with it. You have to be petty. Okay, here's your chance to be petty. So for somebody who are looking for this, let's go. Let's do a T. Let's get petty. I want every detail. So that's the other thing. When you go to put that down and you're like, let's just say your Aunt Judy used to call you ugly all the time. And so you want to write down Aunt Judy was mean. I don't want to know that Aunt Judy was mean. I need to know what hurt you and what part did she say? What was mean to you? Give me the detail. What were the words? What was the events? Were you guys at a pool? And I really want you to repaint what happened so that you can get all of what happened out one final time. You only want to take one sweep at this. You don't want to have to keep going back and just really being honest with yourself. Take the time to be honest in it. I want every detail. You cannot feel guilt for what you feel. Please know. This will stir up some emotions. And what I want you to know is you're safe and that you're okay. And that you don't have to feel bad for what you felt or what you're going to feel. And you shouldn't feel bad for the fact that you're going to heal. Yeah. You cannot reason as you are now. And again, I'm going to repeat myself a little bit. You cannot reason for what happened as you are now. You have to accept how you felt then. For instance, I won't go over that because I just reread that or reemphasize that. I'm going to help guide you through some of the things that I feel are important to be brought up, because many times we feel wrong for feeling a certain way about our parents or our family. We think it would make us seem ungrateful, or that we would be fault finding, or that we weren't appreciative. That's not the idea behind this work. We're not saying that we're not thankful for what our parents or our loved ones or our experiences did. It's just being real with the parts that were painful. On the right side of the T, you will write the more favorable memories of the person or situation. This side can be hard for someone to do who has caused you pain. Below, I have listed some of the items I listed on my own T's to help give you an example of how it is done. Some of these may be hard for you to read, but I want you to see the depths of this that this activity calls for. I will tell you ahead of time, not all these T's are going to be easy to read. Feel free to skip them, and please just don't skip the instructions. I'm about to go over scenario 1 for you, and I think that's where we're going to end reading of chapter 5, and then I will continue on chapter 5 in the next read, because it does get long because it goes over personal T's of my own. The reason I'm transparent with you is not to compare war stories. It's not to say my life was hard, but it's to show you that this stuff really works and that it's okay to feel what you feel. And the person I am now took healing. And a lot of times people see me and they go, well, you must have had a really great life. You're always happy and you're always full of light and love and, this and that. No, I had to do the work. I had to do the work. So the first scenario It's like I had mentioned, the list goes with your parents, your mother and father. So the one I'm going to read to you today was the one I had, and it's not in its entirety, but I gave you enough examples that I hope you'll feel comfortable pouring out yourself on your own paper. But I wanted to give you a glimpse of how it's done. So again, you have this big T on your paper. The top part is the name, not mom, not dad, but their actual name. Okay, so if your dad's name is Tom, it's going to be Tom on the top. Then on the left side, you're going to jot down the things, and they don't have to be in complete. Nobody's here to be the grammar police. Okay, you're just going to write it however it is. You don't have to worry about complete sentences. You don't have to worry about making it cute. I just want a detailed version of what it was on the left side that sucked, that didn't feel good, that hurt, that has caused certain things to keep coming up and hurting you, or for you to run from or be avoidant to, these things that have happened because of circumstances or the way you feel about it. On the right side, you're going to write the things that were good, the memories that you loved, the times that you felt great with this person. And again, when somebody has, and we'll go into more detail in the next reading, when somebody has done something to you, like assault in some type of way, a painful experience, it's not always as easy to write something that you're grateful about on the right-hand side. And again, we'll address that in my future examples about how I did my right side for my abusers. So number one is I did the scenario on my mother. So I guess I'll be nice and I'll give you her name. Her name is Terry. And like I said, she passed when I was 6 years old. So my team may be different for some because I only have so many years to go off of. And that's why this is an individualized work, because we all had different life experiences. So on the right side, which I've mentioned of the T, it is the good things, right? The things that you have good memories for or feel good to think about. And some of my examples are, I love the way you smiled at me and how your eyes would sparkle. You were so beautiful. I felt so special to be your daughter. I love the way you let me stand on the stool at the stove to flip tortillas. I love the way you always took me places with you, even if they weren't always the best places. You just never wanted to leave me behind. I love the sound of your laugh. I love the time we went to the zoo and I saw the hippopotamuses. I love when you were home. I loved when you were happy. You get the idea. There wasn't a whole lot for me to go into over example because 6 years happens very, very fast. And a part of that you don't even remember. And if there was trauma in there, you really don't remember. So the left side was the more hurtful experiences. And some examples I have for you are, why did you do drugs? I hated seeing you angry. I hated seeing you fight with people. I hated seeing you drunk. You did stupid things. It hurt me to see you leave because I was scared that you were never going to come back. It hurt me to see you cry. Why did you have to die? I wish you didn't leave me here alone. I feel like if you would have just tried harder to be better, then you would have lived longer. When you died, my life was horrible. Bad things have happened to me for many years since you've been gone. I hate that I can't remember your voice. I just remember you coming and going. Now, again, does it feel good to look at the fact that I'm mad she's dead? Like, who does that? But it was a truth. It was a truth that many times I was angry at her because I felt if she did something different, she could be here for me. And some people would say, well, that's selfish. And how could you do that? It was my truth. This work isn't about doing some work that just makes you sound good. This is truth work. This is really digging in and doing that work to pull up what it is inside of you, failed expectations for a parent who's no longer here, or a spouse where you may have divorced, or it's not just what they did, it's what you wish that you could have done with them as well. The other thing I had written in my T, which I didn't include in the book, because like I said, it's just a small example of some of the things I wrote in my T because it went on for pages, was I was angry that she was not here for me with my children, that she didn't get to see any of my children be born, and that she didn't get to see my first, second, or third son graduate from things like kindergarten or high school or college, that she wasn't there to give me tips or to help me learn things that I had to learn on my own by falling down over and over again. Like there was a lot of honesty in my work. And that's why I've gotten to where I've gotten, not because I avoided, but because I leaned in. And that by no mistake, I put that in there to lean in on the pain, to lean in on what did I really expect? You're not saying, was this fair or was it unfair? You're saying these are the truths of what I felt. And you're not judging yourself for it, but you're getting it out. So, for those of you who listen tonight, know that you shouldn't do a T until you finish the book in the entirety. We just gave examples, but it's a 5-step process. So, what we just did was went over one of my personal T's. Well, a portion of it. I didn't expose everything, but I'm giving you guys ideas so that you can feel comfortable in your where do I start moment. And that's what I got. So I wish you a wonderful, wonderful Friday night. I hope that you are spending it with the one that you love or the ones that make you feel like you're loved, and that you're having a safe Cinco de Mayo. God bless you. And make sure that you tell yourself at least 2 times a day, I can, I will, and I'm so worth it. Yes, you are. And friends, let's remember, awareness is power. Until next time, enjoy your weekend.